Tonight's podcast is brought to you by our own swag shop. Visit goodolegamers.com/swag and get all that sweet swag that'll pull you tons of pussy.
You'll be looking good and feeling fine. Tales of madness from the...
Maybe a little premature.
Yeah, it's okay.
That's my life.
You blew the wad early. Welcome again to another episode of the Good Ole Gamers podcast. I'm Lyle McClendon. I'm here with my spooky-ass friend, Brendan Gentry.
Go fuck yourself.
Nice. Very subtle.
Yes.
We're with you again. It is October 10th. By the time you're hearing this, it'll probably be October 16th, something like that.
Somewhere around there.
Just an estimate. We got another horrific episode planned for you this evening. We are going to be talking about some slasher games later on tonight, I do believe.
Yep.
Isn't that right? Excuse me.
That is correct.
I had a beer burp that I had to exhale away from the microphone. As anyone... Shit. I can't talk.
That's okay. This is a podcast. We don't have to talk.
I've been sick. My head's been really congested. I've had the plague all week. So bear with me. Anyways, we're going to kick it off, as always, with some news.
Some news.
That's what I was trying to say. Do you have that bitch? Do you still have that little...
Yeah.
Yes.
I was fucking around the sound for a second. Apparently I deleted one of our soundboard clips.
Oh. Wah, wah, wah.
Wah, wah.
Rock Band 4 has been released.
Is it a turd?
I do not...
Is it full of nothing but YouTube?
I do not know. I just know it's out. I know a couple of people that were going to pick it up and play it, but that is as much as I have heard about it. No Guitar Hero Live ads are all over YouTube now, so I know it'll be coming out very shortly.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's out. I don't know. I was trying to look up a little info on it real quick. Apparently, some people are rating it like 7 out of 10.
So decent.
8 out of 10. I don't know.
Whatever. It's Rock Band.
Yeah, it's out. That's all I was trying to get at. Sorry, not trying to bore you.
When was the last one of those games released? It's been a while, hasn't it?
Yeah. The Guitar Hero Rock Band thing, it died off all of a sudden.
Yeah.
Thank benevolent master.
Thank the Dark Lord.
Yeah, it's Halloween, so we're talking, Halloween's a very evil holiday. So we're going to be talking about many ungodly and evil things. I don't know if I'm congested or possessed. It's one of the two.
Possessed by Flynn.
Yep. The Star Wars Battlefield beta is out.
Yeah, I have it downloaded. I haven't played it.
Holy shit. I've already logged about 6 hours on it. I stayed up pretty late after Emerald went to bed last night and played it. That's the first time I've really got to sit down and play video games all week.
Mm-hmm.
It's pretty good. It's like Battlefield, of course. I mean,
yeah.
The other ones. Pretty badass. What's something you got? You're just sitting there being really fucking... Have I done something wrong?
You have. My butt is hurt.
Wow, what have I done?
You went too hard and too deep.
Well, I mean...
I don't know. I understand.
We don't try to fuck around,
Broforce is coming out October 15th. So by the time you hear this, it'll be already released. Finally coming out of its like 3-year-long early access, or however long it was. For those that don't know, it's a 16-bit platforming shooter with like destructible environments.
Fully destructible, right?
Yeah, pretty damn cool game. All the characters you can play are like bro versions of action heroes, and also I think figures from history. I think Abraham Lincoln was one, and all sorts of action hero one. I couldn't name them all off the hand, but they're all some kind of bro pun.
That's awesome.
Yeah. I wish I'd looked up the price. It's like a $20 game, I want to say, but it's pretty cool. Definitely worth checking out if you like that sort of thing.
They announced, I've only played the third one of these because I take that back. The fourth one because I have it. But they announced Far Cry Primal. It's a Far Cry that's going to take place in the Stone Age coming out. Comes out February 23rd. Looks pretty badass. It's coming out on Xbox One, PS4, PC, all that shit.
I know we got a lot of people who listen who play Destiny.
Yeah.
Saw Destiny's getting a cash shop. Yippee.
Of course.
Yeah.
You knew that was going to happen.
It's supposed to be right now. It's only going to be dances, but, you know, they got their foot in the door now. They got their dick wet. It's only a matter of time.
Yeah. Now, while we're talking about this, and I mentioned Star Wars Battlefront earlier, they did announce it will have no microtransactions involved in the game.
At first, anyways.
At first, yeah. So the merit is alive as of now.
Yeah. Only the piece of news I got is Minecraft story mode is coming out by Telltale Games. It's going to run about $25. And of course, being a Telltale game, this is chapter 1. Chapters 2 through X are going to come out, all costing you extra money.
Yeah, I was going to say, they'll also be $25.
Yeah. And they're all leave you at a cliffhanger. You know, they make good games, but that shit pisses me off.
Yeah. I've heard a lot of good about The Walking Dead.
Yeah, that's good. Games. I bought that for my wife. She liked it as little as she's played it.
Well, episode 1 is coming out for free on Xbox Live in the next few days, and then episode 2 comes out the 1st. Is what I've gathered.
Yeah.
So that'd be cool. The only other piece of news I got is they announced a PlayStation 4 price drop, $50. So you'll be able to get a PS4 bundle now for like $350. I think the Destiny bundle, the way I took it, is still $400 maybe, but you get a $50. That sounded bad, but you get like a $50 gift card, I do believe.
Cool.
So yeah.
So you can get $50 worth of dances?
I guess so. Yeah. You can buy $50 worth of whatever the fuck it is you buy using your money on PlayStation Network.
I'm pretty sure I'm going to be buying a Wii U for Christmas.
Yeah, I told Emma the other day.
There's just too much going for it now.
I've thought about taking something from my collection that I don't play and getting rid of. Might try to sell my Atari 400 collection to get put toward one.
Yeah.
Man, Mario Maker's so fucking sweet.
Yeah,
still.
Most of the games I want to play on, or would want to play on Xbox, PlayStation, I can play on PC. But Wii U, they got Mario Maker, they got Smash Brothers, Mario Party, Mario Kart, that Fast Racing Neo that's coming out, Splatoon, all that shit.
Yeah.
I mean, where else can you play it but Wii U? So
it truly, everybody talks shit about Wii U.
It sucked at first. They didn't.
Oh yeah, well, it's truly a Nintendo console now.
Yeah,
because a lot of people fail to realize, and well, I'm choosing my words fucking carefully because I don't want to get crucified for what I'm saying.
That's cool.
It's the NES when it came out. I mean, it kind of sucked when it first launched.
Oh yeah.
I mean, other than Mario. I mean, Mario doesn't suck, of course, but it takes time to refine things.
It's also got them sweet Earthbound the Earthbound 1 translation. Definitely getting that.
I'm experimenting with my microphone, trying to.
Yeah, you sound a lot better when you're eating it.
Yeah, I know. Like, I don't want to be too close on it, but I don't want it to pick up me breathing because I'm breathing. I'm having to breathe out of my mouth because I'm stopped up in my nose. But it does sound pretty good when I'm right up on it. Mm-hmm.
That's all I got for news.
You want to continue in your?
I'll do that last because it takes so long.
What are you doing?
Too spooky for you instead of Rage Rant.
Okay, so you're not. Okay, we'll do the Vault's Game of the Week then.
Vault's Game of the Week.
Game of the Week is also a game that we're talking about in our topic tonight.
Yep.
It is Friday the 13th for the NES.
It's quite a dick of a game.
I don't want to get too in depth with it since we're going to be talking about it here in a little bit. See the topic if you want the definition of this game. It was a game I'm struggling real quick to look up and see what year exactly it come out. It's made by LJN.
That tells you a lot right there.
Yeah. Brandon, say something.
While
I do this.
While does that.
1989 video game. Wow. I thought it come out way later than that.
Yeah.
It was Oh, wow. It was published by LJN, but developed by Atlas.
Okay.
Didn't know that.
Me either.
Of course, critics have rated it as one of the worst games of all time. A lot of people have, but I beg to differ.
It did have a lot of cool elements to it.
Oh, yeah. And I mean,
even though I've never been so lost in a 2-bedroom house.
It's just one of those essentials to have in your NES collection because it is challenging. Like I said, we're not getting too into it because we'll talk about it shortly. But Vault's Game of the Week is this game.
Yeah, go down the Vault and get it if you ain't got it.
Yeah.
That's definitely worth it.
Vault's got a good selection. They got everything from Atari 2600 up to...
This current shit.
Yeah, my cold medicine's
Xbox
kicking
One.
hard. Yeah, PS4. Vault also has a vape store now.
Yeah, I was going to mention that. Yeah, I know we bust a lot of vapors balls on here. Mainly,
we're sorry.
I ain't got a problem with vaping. It's just, you go into a place that says no smoking and people are vaping.
You're not above smoking.
Yeah, it's still smoking. But yeah, if you enjoy vaping, go down to Vault. They got their own vape store set up.
Yeah, they carry the Jason Mewes.
Yeah, Mewes Juice.
Mewes Juice and a Zombie. I was there the other day when they were setting everything up. Some of those flavors there's a sugar tits flavor on the Mewes Juice, and it's like sugar cookie flavored. Huh. It's pretty good.
It's pretty cool.
What do you want to talk about now? Like
the arcade horror.
Okay. I didn't know if you had something you wanted to do before we did that.
Nope.
You got that that wolf?
Yeah, that's one I deleted by accident. So you get
arcade horror. I'm doing arcade
Let's see
horror.
If I got this one still. Oh. There we go.
Yeah, I like that one.
Do I have this one still? No, I don't have this one. Oh, okay. I've deleted 2 by accident.
It's okay.
Shame.
This week's arcade horror, which is in the place of arcade arcana for the month of October, is an SNK game that came out in arcades, never ported to a home console, of course. It's called Nightmare in the Dark. Me and Brandon actually played some of this earlier. It came out in 2000, and it's pretty much the story of a gravedigger who has discovered some of his graves have been desecrated by evil. And it's his attempts to prevent the grave robbers from fucking his graveyard up worse.
That's not a bad little game.
No, it's available on MAME, of course, if you got a MAME system or a PC to play it on. I urge you to check it out. But it's kind of it's like a mixture of Bubble Bobble, Ghosts and Goblins, and maybe, I don't know, what was that other one I said earlier? It was kind of
Um,
tinged with
it kind of has, I'd say, almost a hint of Gauntlet. The way you get upgrades to your character, and it's very loot based. Like you get the power ups and stuff.
yeah. You get certain potions that allow you to, like, it'll make your range go up, it'll make your fireball bigger. What you do is enemies appear on the screen. If you're familiar with Bubble Bobble, it's just like that. It's the side view, multi-tier platforms. You have a torch and you light monsters on fire until the point that they're a giant fireball. You take that fireball then and throw. And whatever is in its way, it kills. And whatever you kill, you get a piece of loot or treasure from it. You play through four levels, and then at the beginning of 1-5, you do a boss battle. I got to 5-5 earlier, and that is about the furthest I got.
Pretty fun though.
Yeah, it's not bad. I was really trying to remember what the shit
What the
I
shit
said.
indeed.
Yeah, what the shit I said. It was like a mixture of. It's like Bubble Bobble, Ghosts and Goblins. It's got a 2-player mode, of course, because me and Brandon both played it once. There's actually 5 stages with 5 levels each, so I must have been pretty close to the end. I accidentally hit the back out button on my cabinet and reset it.
Oh yeah.
And I was just
That's a
like,
dick.
well, I'm not fucking with it anymore until you get here. It's
And it is 2-player. I don't know if you mentioned that.
It was developed by AM Factory, published by Gava King 11.
Everyone who knows who they are.
Yeah, indeed. It came out on the Neo Geo MVS, and it uses the MVS hardware, which is, like the... If I'm not mistaken, you can play... If you slapped a cartridge on it, you could play those cards on the Neo Geo home version.
Yeah.
It's pretty good, though. I urge you to check it out. You can get it on MAME. It's pretty good. It's something different. It's 166 megs of awesomeness. So, yeah.
That's right. It says that much.
Yeah, me too. I mean, it's graphically, it's not really.
Yeah, it's a Super Nintendo game graphically.
Oh, yeah. Definitely. And it came out in 2000, so.
Oh, wow.
It was a later release.
Yeah.
What you got?
I guess I'm going to continue Too Spooky for You.
It's that time.
I'm going to continue the reading of the NES Godzilla creepypasta.
Did you delete the background music?
No, I did not. I hope I didn't.
Me too.
Yeah, where we left off, I read chapters 1 to 2, and we reread about how the guy, I don't think he ever gave his name, he had acquired a copy of the NES creepypasta, and he was excited to get it back because it's one of his favorite childhood games, but it slowly started bugging out and doing these weird things until he started fighting these horrific monsters that were never in the game. And as it's progressively got worse.
What a strange tale indeed.
Instead of Mars, he went to a place called Pathos, which is like a hellish landscape type planet. And now he's gone to Trance instead of Jupiter. So, let's set the mood.
Welcome to hell.
Chapter 3, Trance. I was still pretty shook up from the last level when I started Trance. Trance's map music did nothing to ease the tension. As for how to describe it, have you ever heard the theme from Videodrome? That's the closest thing I can think of to compare it to. I checked to see who the new monster was, and it was Orga, a monster who didn't make his film debut until 2000, appearing in a game made in 1988.
My God.
So much for my theories about Titanosaurus and Biolante. There's no way this game was made in 1988. Those guys at Toho may be smart, but I'm sure they couldn't see that far into the future. If they could, they never would have gave Roland Emmerich the rights to make a Godzilla movie. No, this had to be a hack of some kind, which just opened up even more question. Who made this hack? When? How? And most importantly, why? The why was the question that bothered me most. My immediate assumption was to think Billy did this to pull a joke on me, but that couldn't be right either. Billy didn't know how to make a ROM hack, and if he did, he'd probably just do something simple and stupid, like replacing all the monsters with crudely drawn genitalia. I like Billy, I would do that too. Unless Billy had amazing game editing skills and a serious dark streak to his imagination that he never told me about, he couldn't have made this. Is it even possible to put a hacked ROM into a cartridge? Yes, it is, asshole.
It's very possible.
Aside from all that, my eye was drawn to a new icon on the map, a question mark. I was really curious as to what it did. I'm sure you're also curious, so I'll explain the quiz levels now, since this was when they start appearing. There is one of these per map from here on, and they always appear near the start of the map. When you start on a quiz level, they appear on the screen like this, and it shows this Godzilla in a black screen with a little like face, and it says yes or no on both sides of them, and it asks a question at the top. And the question it's asking in this picture says, do you like dogs? And you can pick yes or no. As you can see, there's a question at the top, a yes and no, and a emoticon in the center. I refer to the emoticon as face, real creative, I know, and for convenience, I'll refer to face as the one asking the questions. The music for the quiz levels was a track actually in the game. It's the one that plays when you try to use the Ghidorah cheat and get sent to an unplayable level. Face asks you 12 yes or no questions, and you move your monster to the buttons for your answer. When you answer, the question disappears and Face changes expressions for about 8 seconds, then he goes back to neutral and a new question comes up. There is no time limit, nor any right or wrong answers. Face has no respect for the player's personal boundaries and will sometimes ask deeply disturbing questions, deeply disturbing and personal questions. For example, do you like hurting people? Have you ever killed / raped anyone?
Yes.
Have you ever been molested by a family member? What was that?
No.
Other times he would ask questions that were either mind-numbingly stupid, is the sun hot, is the water wet, or just flat out ridiculous. Does your dog like the president? And maybe once per quiz, Face would ask you a question about the game. With one exception, Face's expression changes seem to have no effect on the game, except for indicating what the game creator thought of your answer. His reactions rarely made any sense, and at first I thought they were randomly generated. The questions never followed a pattern. Face never stayed on the same subject for more than 2 questions. Early on, there were questions that made me think Face was building up to something, only to ask some stupid garbage. Here are the expressions of Face that I saw while playing. I'll separate them into 2 categories, the expressions I understood and the expressions I didn't. First are the expressions I understood, and I can't, it's just a bunch of really typical emoticons, like angry, sad, happy, sick. And here are the others, and shows some really odd facial expressions. One of them looks like a ninja, one of them looks like a clown. You look at them, Law. Some of them are quite creepy.
That's fucking weird.
Intriguing.
Indecipherable.
2 of these only appeared once, and I suspect that they might have been in-jokes from the creator. Their respective questions were, do you like ice cream? And are you a tough guy? As for the questions in the first quiz, luckily I had a notepad and pen handy. I have problems remembering things, so I often carry one around to jot things down, and sometimes I doodle in it when I'm bored. So when the quiz first started, I thought I'd record what happened. I'm glad I did. And he goes on to record his questions and answers. I'm not going to go through all that. Now that I've explained all that, time for the gameplay. After the quiz level, I tried the new green temple icon first. Wow, maybe this is why the game was so weird. One of the designers was clearly drugged out of his mind. It shows what looks like a acid trip Aztec background, I would say. All very neon green.
Very psychedelic.
Yeah. Jokes aside, I was quite impressed by the graphics of this level, as disorienting as they were. But I hate those creepy blank staring statue faces. The music had a hypnotic Indian techno vibe to it. I know exactly what that is.
Mahakal.
There were 2 new enemies.
That's Indian for death, by the way.
Awesome. there were 2 new enemies in this level. A flying ghost type thing with a trunk, and a bat with a horse skull for a face. It looks quite creepy. They appear at random, and I was lucky to get a screen cap of them both. Really, the ghost was like a neon green, like elephant abortion, I'd say.
My God.
Then I proceeded to a Blue Mountain level, expecting another nice, calm stroll. I took my time walking through and was completely taken by surprise when this happened. The not Mogura, the boss that he had fought before that took Mogura's place, that was actually a massive machine tentacles, came speeding towards me and took off quite a bit of my health with his tentacle screws. It only took me 2 minutes to kill him without having to worry about a time limit, but the boss monsters never show up in the game scrolling levels. I was worried about what other rules the game would break. After another Blue Mountain stage, it was time to fight Not Varen, whose replacement was one of the most bizarre things in the game. This replacement was almost like a skeletal horse whose face is pointing the opposite direction that it should. Like someone just snapped its neck and it just kept on going. It's bright purple colored with spines. It's really awkward looking. This strange
bastard of a creation.
Yeah. This strange creature attacks you by kicking it and also by opening up his chest and firing heat-seeking missiles. I still don't get it. The missiles were sometimes a pain to deal with, but I found out you could tail whip them out of the way. Not Varian was probably the easiest of the monster replacements. The same cannot be said for Not Hedorah, and it shows for the replacement of Hedorah this level. It looks like a skeletal horse that tried to be Jabba the Hutt. It's got a green underbelly and a bright green eye. Kind of weird looking.
That's fucking terrifying.
Apparently the source of the horse bats, Not Hedorah, was the most aggravatingly difficult monster to fight yet, mostly because of his special ability. He could shriek and summon a small swarm of those horse bat things. I know there's only 2 in the screen cap, but every time he did this, about 10 would arrive. The AI took advantage of the distraction and attacked twice as fast while the horse bats were flying around. Once that annoyance was over with, I went through a Green Temple level to kill some enemies to restore my health. Interestingly, none of the horse bats showed up after Not Hedorah was killed, and then that was when I got an idea. If killing all the monsters make the red face show up, then what would happen straight to the base, so I gave that a try. The game told me there was no monster there when I tried to start the base level, and immediately afterwards, the game took control of my Godzilla piece and moved it in front of Orga. My little trick didn't work, so I tried to prepare myself for another chase. But first, I had to beat Orga. And it shows Godzilla fighting Orga from the movie. No fucking loof here. The fight with Orga confirmed another thing. Whoever created this game hack was clearly a Godzilla fan. Not only because they picked a monster like Orga, but because they actually implemented something that that happened in Godzilla 2000 in a really neat way. Orga's primary attacks were a punch and a heat beam from his shoulder cavity. But once you had him down to half his health, he did something new. He would expand his jaws and try to swallow Godzilla, and in the process stealing your health and energy. But in doing so, he gave himself a new weakness. Firing a heat beam into his mouth would take a devastating 4 bars off of his life meter.
Anybody's life meter would be affected.
Yes. With that weakness revealed, I soon beat Orga, and despite how much I'd hoped otherwise, the red face appeared on the map where the base was, and the music stopped. I rated myself as best as I could. I started the level, and saying that it was basically the same as the first, I didn't waste a millisecond before I started hauling ass. I soon encountered obstacles in the form of the ground tiles suspended in the air. Most of them you could jump over or destroy, others you had to crouch under. About 40 seconds into it, I heard the horrible bellowing roar and saw the spider beast following close behind. Stacks of obstacles barely slowed it down. It would back up and then charge its way through them, smashing them into bits. And when the smaller obstacles got in its way, it would expand its jaws and swallow them whole. It shows the spider beast expanding its jaws like disproportionately, and it's about to swallow a big chunk of land. It's pretty crazy looking.
It's fucking scary. It makes me think of what Rosie O'Donnell at like a fucking Las Vegas buffet would look like. I'm about to burn this motherfucker down.
I was afraid, but with fast thinking and faster button pressing, I escaped him yet again. I felt really excited, and so I laughed and said, "Not this time, asshole!" I decided to take a screen cap to celebrate. But when I said that sentence, just before the level ended, the monster did something that made my blood run cold. It looked at me, and it shows a picture of him looking straight at the screen with like a really dissatisfied face.
Makes me think of what one of Emma's lizards looked like when it looks at me.
The wave of mortal terror overtook me again, and I was sure as hell wasn't laughing anymore. I took another screen cap of the next level title, right before I rushed to the bathroom to splash some water on my face, and to take a piss that I nearly failed to contain when that fucking thing looked at me. The next, chapter 4, Dementia. When I got back to the game, I was getting very upset and confused. I thought about the way the monster looked at me. The game couldn't have heard what I said. That's impossible. It had to be a random occurrence. But why did it happen precisely at the moment I insulted the monster? Nothing about this game made any sense. The new Godzilla monsters, the weird replacement monsters, out-of-place imagery like the green temples, quiz levels, and the red monster chases. It didn't seem to add up in any kind of meaningful way. If it was a prank, it wasn't funny in any way I could understand, and they clearly put far too much effort into it. If they were trying to make a genuine sequel with new Godzilla monsters, then why did they add everything else? Maybe it was some kind of art experiment, some group project made by a bunch of really talented and crazy people and they lost the cartridge somehow? Or maybe they intended for some random person to find it? It was all just fruitless guessing. As far as I could tell, there was only one way to figure out what the deal with this game was, to play it through to the end. Maybe, just maybe, there would be something in the credits, an explanation by the creators as to why they made this, or it could be something much more cryptic and strange, maybe even something horrifying. Before I got a good look at the Dementia board, I considered replaying Trance to see if the red monster would look at me again, but I decided against it. I wanted to keep moving forward. I was somewhat worried about backtracking might cause the game to become even more strange. The Dimension board music sounded a lot like the Saturn music, except it was slowed down and played with a piano-sounding instrument. Like most of these new map themes, it had a dangerous, suspenseful feel. While listening to the music, I looked at the Dementia board. There were 4 boss monsters this time: Space Godzilla, Manda, Gigan, and Baragon. I was surprised that there were 2 new Toho monsters this time, but the best surprise was still to come. I started the quiz level, and he goes through all the questions I asked. I'm going to skip them. One of the questions that says, "Would you like a new monster? Yes or no?" I wasn't sure at the time what Face meant by a new monster, but I couldn't resist answering yes, just to see what would happen. The result was mind-blowing. The game took me back to the board and a new playable monster in the form of Anguirus. And ever since I was a kid, I always wanted to play as Anguirus since he was my second favorite Godzilla monster, and plus I never liked Mothra all that much. I moved my Anguirus piece over to the level right next to it, eager to test out my new monster. Before I could get to the level description, I'll talk about Anguirus a bit. Using the up and down buttons, you could choose whether Anguirus stood in bipedal stance or crawled around on all fours. It wasn't a huge difference, but being able to stand was helpful in boss fights, and crawling sometimes helped dodge obstacles and attacks. He could punch and kick like Godzilla, but no tail whip. Instead, he had something far more interesting, the ability to curl up into a spiked ball of death and roll around. You could still take damage, but it was lessened. It was a good way of clearing out stage enemies, but unfortunately, doing this also drained the power bar. But the spiked ball wasn't his only special ability. When he pressed start, he would fire a beam of energy from his mouth. It resembled Titanosaurus' sonar attack, and if this were a hack, it may have been inspired by the roar attack from Atari's Godzilla fighting games. Also, this note, when playing as Anguirus, the level meter gets glitched up. Judging by the life and power bar, I'd say he's on level 10. Now on to the level. As you might have guessed from the level icon, these levels are green palette swaps of the background tiles from the Blue Mountains. But what immediately caught my attention was the water, which had a transparency effect. What, was that even possible for an NES game? I know the Super Nintendo could do it, but I've never seen transparency effect in a game on an NES. The Green Mountains music was played with the same instrument as the Blue Mountains, but the melody was totally different. It was a very simple song with a lot of abrupt pauses. followed by a loud note every few seconds. Anyway, I went through the usual strolling through the level, and again, there were no monsters or anything, but pretty soon I had reached the cliff above the water, and there was nowhere to go but into the water, so down I went. The water transparency made things a bit harder to see, but it's tolerable. After going underwater, I encountered 2 new enemies, a giant piranha and some kind of spiky bottom feeder thing. I liked the piranha because I could easily tell what it was. It was a sane enemy design that would appear in a real game, and there are very few enemies like this. It didn't take too many hits to kill them, but they were quite annoying and could considerably trim down your life if they got close enough. They also tend to travel in packs. As for the bottom feeders, they were easy to deal with. They swim along the bottom of the screen towards you and are easily crushed with a roll attack or jumped over. In this screen cap, you can see me about to run them over, and there's a pack of piranhas behind it. And the bottom feeders almost reminds me of graboids, to be honest, from Tremors.
It does. That's weird you say that because I watched Tremors 5.
I want to watch that. I haven't had a chance yet. After I beat that level, I moved Godzilla into the blue castle icon. I started the level and I got a title screen, with the text, Unforgiving Cold. The level itself looked like a castle dungeon made of blue bricks, with rows of identical white statue faces on the walls. These statue faces had a permanent look of horror on their face. There was also some flickering gray static, which didn't really obscure my vision, but it adds to the very unsettling mood of these levels. The music was a 12-second loop of low-pitched choir vocalizing that sounded very familiar to me. Whenever I played through one of these levels, I got the sudden, horrible feeling of anxiety. I had the feeling that the further I progressed through the level, the closer I was getting to something unspeakably evil. There weren't any enemies, but these were some of the longest levels in the game. I only played one level, but it took 7 minutes to complete. I didn't want to admit it to myself at the time, but I realized something playing the Blue Castle level. This game has the power to make the player feel certain things. I don't mean in the sense that you get irritated playing a crappy game or unnerved by something scary in a game. What I meant is that certain events in this game can instantly make you start feeling something. I know that sounds completely insane. I don't blame you for not believing me. I wouldn't believe any of this either if I hadn't played the game myself. But there's something very, very wrong with this game, and I still don't know how to explain it. So then it was time to fight Baragon's replacement. Although Baragon was originally the smallest monster in the game, his replacement was the largest. It was so tall, in fact, that the ground was noticeably lowered, and Mont Baragon's head still barely avoided collision with the bars at the top of the screen. And he was just as frighteningly bizarre as he was huge. And he looks like, I would say he has like a woolly mammoth skull head with exposed ribs and a very meaty or even brain mass muscle body behind it. Like, it's weird.
Fucking mammoth head.
Yeah. You may be wondering how he attacks without arms. Well, he has the most powerful kick in the game, but his other fighting technique is much stranger. First, he blasts a cloudy breath of pixels down at you, which causes you to freeze. Then he walks back to the right corner of the screen and extends a huge Gatling gun from his abdomen. This might seem amusing to you, but it certainly wasn't to me when I was playing the game. The attack is almost as annoying as Gigan Saw, and not Baragon could have been unbeatable if he consistently used it. Thankfully, he only did it twice while fighting him. Once you unfreeze, you can run up and start damaging the gun, which does extra damage to him. This helped me destroy him, and then it was time to play the third level type. I decided that I was going to use Anguirus to fight Manda and Gigan, and then fight Space Godzilla as Godzilla. Before getting into the battles, I'll describe the third level type, the Arctic. The Arctic is exactly as you guessed from the name, an icy tundra with few watery segments. The music reminded me a bit of Northern Hemispheres from Donkey Kong Country in 8-bit form. Very dangerous sounding song. It made me think about being trapped in the tundra and freezing to death. There are 2 new enemies in the stage. The first was the creature frozen in a block of ice. They block your way, and you have to use the heat beam to thaw them out. They look a bit like a smaller version of Not Ghidorah, only with one eye. When freed, they do a strange crawling movement and push you backwards. It didn't cause any damage, but it's a bit annoying. After dealing with the Iceman, I kept walking for a minute or two and came upon a water segment. I jumped in, and this time I managed to get a screen cap showing how the water splashes when you jump in. Don't know how they program that, but it's pretty impressive. Another interesting thing is how the screen changes focus when you go underwater. Here you can see other new enemies another new enemy, a little thing I like to call Spike Walker. They walk towards you and explode randomly or instantly if you attack them, sending spikes in every direction. The spikes don't do much damage, but they did get me dangerously close to falling into a pit a few times. Speaking of the pits, down into the water, the game has a platformer element, bottomless pits. There weren't any of these in the original game since it was strictly an action game, but the pits were a neat addition. After getting back on land, I encountered a very unexpected mini-boss, Maguma, the Walrus Kaiju. I know this game had some obscure monsters to begin with, but wow, not that I'm complaining, it was pretty cool cameo for underappreciated kaiju, and it shows the giant walrus kaiju shooting a laser beam out of his mouth. It's pretty cool.
Nice.
Maguma's fighting tactics were very simple. He had a freeze beam, and he could charge into you. Not very challenging, but certainly more entertaining than the Matango mini-boss in the original game. One really interesting thing about Maguma is he doesn't die when you defeat him. He turns tail and retreats. This is the first time I'd ever seen an enemy monster change direction, let alone retreat. I tried to chase after him, but he disappeared after I got in the water. Poor bastard. And that does it for the Arctic. I'll talk about the Mondo fight next. I forgot to mention, but the music that played during the new monster fights is reused from the themes actually in the games. I need to list off the different types of themes. As for the fight, Mondo is a fairly crafty opponent. When it realized one tactic was ineffective, it would immediately change to a different one. And Mondo is like I'd say a classic Chinese dragon kaiju. It's very serpentine type dragon. You can see how he looks. Yeah.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, it looks almost like a snake with legs.
Yeah.
Mondo used quite a few tricks like spitting fire, biting, and the most irritating of all, constricting. It doesn't mercilessly drain your life down like Gaigan's cutter, but it is by far Mondo's strongest attack. One last thing to note was that Atragon showed up during the fight to help me out. Mondo crushed it with ease, but it was still cool. After I slayed Mondo, I played through an Arctic level for health power-ups, and then it was on to Gaigan's replacement. When the fight started, I was very confused because there was nothing there. I thought it was going to be like the Titanosaurus fight in Pathos, but just about the time it would have been going back to the map, a piranha appeared on screen. But it wasn't there for long. As soon as it appeared, the speakers emitted an ear-splitting screech, and Not Gaigan flew in and ripped the poor fish to pieces. Well, that's one way to get the player on their toes. The abrupt entrance scared the hell out of me and got my adrenaline rushing, which in retrospect was a good thing because Not Gaigan was one of the fastest, most unrelenting opponents in the game. And this replacement looks like a solid like neon green. He's nothing but really a giant mouth, two elongated arms, and I guess some spiked feet that are positioned for jumping mostly. Kind of strange looking.
That is fucking weird.
Not Gaigan was tough, but with my new skills with Anguirus helped me to even the score. This was still an incredibly intense fight. Not Gaigan's attacks consisted of some kind of blood lasers he spews from his mouth and a downward slash. I was expecting some hellish variant of the buzzsaw attack, but thankfully there didn't seem to be one. The howl attack was invaluable in defeating him. I would have taken more screen caps of the fight, but I really had to concentrate. After that, there is one monster left to take down, Space Godzilla. As mentioned earlier, I used Godzilla to fight. Space Godzilla's fighting technique was rather frustrating, but admittedly a very clever idea. Space Godzilla would use his energy to create two flying crystals, which would reach the ground and become crystal spires. Spires not only block you from reaching Space Godzilla, but also allowed him to constantly recharge to full energy and blast you with a deadly, fully charged Corona beam until you broke the spires. Space Godzilla would eventually drain his own spires of energy until they shattered, but if you waited for that to happen, you'd probably lose a lot of life. Heat beams actually seemed to re-energize the spires, so you had to use physical attacks. When he finally got close enough to hit Space Godzilla, he was no pushover. When I punched him, he hit me back just as hard. Space Godzilla does everything in his power to knock you back to the left corner of the screen so he can create more spires. By the time this was over, I only had about 5 life bars left. But it didn't matter, because I didn't need to fight anymore. I needed to run. Here we go again. I decided right then that I really wanted to see the end of this game. As terrifying as these levels could be sometimes, I had to beat them to get through. I I decided that no matter what happened to me, no matter what the game showed me, I was going to get to the end. And I also made sure not to say a damn word while playing a chase level from now on. For this chase, I tried out Anguirus since his roll attack allowed me to move faster than Godzilla or Mothra. The chase started off like the first two, except there was a river of blood below the ground. I was beginning to get the hang of it, and the extra speed from the roll helped me get an edge on the red monster, especially since I didn't have to worry about a power limit. I could keep rolling endlessly. Like the previous levels with water, the ground inevitably reached the stop, so I rolled off into the blood. To my surprise, the hell beast didn't follow after me. It just stopped at the edge of the ground and grimaced. I guess it can't swim, I thought to myself. So I went under blood and continued moving. There wasn't anything around, but I knew something was up. The chase wasn't going to end that easily, could it? Surely something else had to show up, and sure enough, I heard a different bellowing roar, sounding slightly different. And the monster was following after me in a new aquatic body. And this time the red spidery monster has kind of a fish tail and fins. I had no idea it was a shapeshifter. After it reappeared, the chase started to get into the difficulty I expected. Being submerged slowed me down, putting me and the beast at about the same speed. The only thing that would keep me alive was fast thinking and reflexes. I encountered some bottomless pits in which mines floated up from. I assumed that if you hit one, it would damage you and knock you back. Considering how fast the red monster swims, hitting the mines would be instant death. So I went through great effort to avoid them. But that wasn't all I had to be wary of. Halfway through the chase, the hell beast revealed yet another surprise. A tentacle formed of intestine and tipped with a clawed set of jaws burst from its mouth, trying to pull me in and devour me. It kind of reminds me of an alien, like the mother aliens, how they had the mouth within the mouth. Except this is like a giant, like tentacled one with a mouth on the end.
Built for tentacle rape.
Yes. I only barely avoided both the tentacle and the mines, but I could tell the beast was getting desperate because the chase was nearly over. And about a minute later, I had spotted a bit of ground that served as an exit. I leaped with all my might I could muster without breaking my controller. The beast screamed with rage and jumped out of the blood river in one last attempt to drag me down, but I escaped its grasp. This time, I fell back on my bed and took a deep breath, satisfied with yet another successful escape. Now I was headed to the fifth world, Entropy. Bum, bum, bum. Alright, we'll continue it next week.
That dude has some serious issues with that fucking game.
Yeah, it's gonna kill him.
Mm-hmm.
It's gonna be the death of him. I guess now
I wish we could get a copy of that and make that kind of shit happen.
Yeah, he's actually making a game of it. Or maybe not him, but someone, a fan maybe, I don't know. But there's a game that he made of it.
Nice.
Really looking forward to it. I guess now we can get on the subject.
Well, like we said earlier, we're gonna do slasher games for this evening.
Mm-hmm.
You want to get the old ones or the new ones out of the way first? Does it matter to you?
It don't matter to me.
I gotta do some experimenting here real quick.
Yeah, it's also a cardioid, so
I think that there is the best.
The front where it has the writing on it, so that part needs to face you. I know your shock mount's kind of hiding it.
Yeah. I actually was going to take a piece of tape or something and just put on it to mark it. So
works
I'm
for me.
going to do that real quick.
Do it.
Beautiful. The slasher genre. Yeah. Okay. The slasher genre.
It's not a very vast genre.
It's not.
Sure.
It's going to be. They're working on a bunch of games right now that kind of fit in. It's different to me. That it's different than survival horror. Survival horror. It'll end up being an episode we do, but it's not the fucking episode we're doing tonight. There's not many slasher games. The ones that do exist pretty much coincide with the main slasher movies that are out. So I guess we'll just start off with the old ones. Two games that come out for the Atari 2600. Pretty controversial back in the day, and we'll get into that. But Wizard Video, who also Wizard Video made Halloween and Texas Chainsaw Massacre for Atari 2600.
Yeah.
They pretty much were just churned out in an attempt to use the license which they had for both, for the VHS license. So they had part of the rights. Wizard Video formed their own section of a company called Wizard Video Games. Dun, dun, dun. So in 1983, they released both Halloween and Texas Chainsaw Massacre. One's pretty good and one sucks shit.
Yeah, I agree.
Halloween's actually fun.
I liked Halloween. Could actually get some jumps out of you just because Michael Myers would all of a sudden disappear out of nowhere and cut your head off.
Yeah, usually in a lot of the rooms there's a door in the middle. So he has the ability to appear from the extreme left, extreme right, or dead center of the screen.
Yeah, I learned that you avoid the door, like you make your way down. So if he pops out, it's not instant death.
There's a bottom floor and a top floor. Pretty much you just run left to right, and there are children scattered out. You get the children, you pretty much wrangle this kid. I'm assuming it's Tommy Doyle if you're playing Laurie Strode, but you take this kid to either the far left side, or right side of the house, and that's how you get points.
Yeah.
And avoid Michael Myers. There is a weapon you can pick up, but Brendan never figured out how to use it, and neither have I. I think it makes him retreat, though.
It might do it. One thing, the kid is kind of locked into a lane, I would say. Like the bottom half of the room is the only place the kid can go. So he follows you. He follows your x-axis movement, but he won't. He only follows that straight lane. So like he can't move around Michael Myers. He can only go left or right, and Michael Myers goes straight for the kid. So if he's in front of you, you just got to back the fuck up.
And it's actually pretty graphic for an Atari game. The murder of children is a touchy subject.
Yeah.
But he stabs this little kid, and you can visibly see little blood pixels spray out of this kid's head.
And he'll cut your head off.
He'll cut your head, slap the fuck off.
And then you run to the other side of the room.
Like a fucking chicken on a KFC killing ground floor.
And you get a new head when you go to the next room. But you also lose a life. So.
Because video games are magical.
Yep. Pretty fun little game, though.
Yeah, it's worth checking out. You can emulate it if you do that kind of thing. Pretty expensive game.
Is it?
It's about $100 game.
God
with
damn.
the box, probably about a $200 game. Which brings us to the next one, Texas Chainsaw Massacre.
What a turd.
Yeah, it's I don't, like you said, it's like controlling a treadmill.
Yeah, your character doesn't really move. Like you press left or right, and you just like the level moves around you. It's very obvious that's what happens. Especially because different obstacles on the treadmill level move at different speeds. So when you go left and right, you can see the difference. It doesn't
you dodge by the way, moving left or right, you dodge cow skulls and wheelchairs. Yeah. And pieces of fence.
Yeah, and you chase down victims.
Mm-hmm. Cut them straight the fuck up.
Yeah. Also, your leather-faced guy, he's wearing a blue suit, and the chainsaw is also the same color blue. So it looks like you just have this barbed dick sticking out of you, and so you got a fuel meter for it, so you can't just leave it.
The chainsaw looks like a giant T sticking out of his chest. It's really terrible. It's like 6 pixels total, maybe, if that.
When you finally get to a victim, they just start teleporting left or right of you. And it's a pain in the ass. You just got to keep trying. And then when you finally touch them, you turn on your chainsaw. If you just run your chainsaw, you'll run out of fuel.
Why don't you tell them about that wonderful noise it plays when you actually get a victim on the screen?
Yeah, when a victim spawns on the screen, you just hear a ear-piercing...
And the audience is now fucking deaf. Sorry.
Yeah, well, I'm deaf too because of it. Which is much higher pitch than what we did.
Yeah.
But I really like the chainsaw, like the noise when he killed him. I can't even begin to imitate
And
it.
you kill women,
Yeah.
it looks like, too. They're all wearing dresses.
Yeah.
Shame, shame.
When I got a game over, that some dude wearing like pink just comes out of nowhere and kicks you, and then that's the game over.
It's a pretty big piece of shit.
Yeah.
It's an expensive game as well. It'd be cool to have for a collector item, but it's not something fun at all.
Yeah.
You could play it on a fucking calculator probably.
Oh, definitely.
Then after Atari 2600, you get into the NES era, of course, and two of my favorites appeared on the NES. Not favorite games at all, but two. I want to be real fucking crystal clear about that. Not favorite games, but favorite franchises. LJN released and Atlas developed. I didn't know that, but Friday 13th, Nightmare on Elm Street. And actually, Rare developed Nightmare on Elm Street, which is kind of strange. But
well, I'd say it's probably the better game out of the two.
They're really, Nightmare's better, I think. I'm gonna read the synopsis that comes out of both game manuals. Friday the 13th. It's a pretty typical summer at Crystal Lake. There's a group of happy children staying in the camp. You and your 6 camp counselor friends are watching over the kids while enjoying the lake and the wilderness. The days are bright and sunny, the nights are cool and clear, and Jason is on a rampage. It's up to you to stop him, but it's not going to be easy. You must first fight your way through forests filled with man-eating wolves, caves covered with blood-sucking bats, and hordes of mindless zombies everywhere you turn. You must also help any friend who is in danger, or else you can just kiss them goodbye. And hiding in a cabin or staying adrift in a canoe won't keep you safe. Jason will find you anywhere. The only way to survive this summer is to challenge Jason face to face and destroy him.
Nice.
It's apparently it's a spinoff of one of the movies in the series. I'm not sure which fucking one. You can pick 6 counselors, I think, in it. There's multiple counselors you can pick, and it's side scrolling initially.
Yeah.
You like kill zombies and shit, and walk left to right,
which is a really awkward way to traverse a map.
And if you've ever played Platoon, it's kind of like that. There will be roads going into the background and roads like into the foreground, and you can walk forward or backwards on those around the map. You pretty much go around to houses located over the map. You pull the map menu up, and a house will flash. That means the kids are in danger. You get to that house and find the kid, and usually Jason will appear. And the house seems like a first-person dungeon crawler.
Yeah, eagle view, I guess you would say.
Yeah.
I've never been, like I said before, I've never been so lost in a 2-bedroom house.
No shit.
It's hard navigating these things.
When you fight Jason, in the house, it's kind of like Punch-Out.
Yeah, yeah.
You have to dodge, right, or duck.
He's throwing hatchets at you, isn't it?
Yes. Yes.
Yeah. And he's in his classic purple.
Yeah, purple outfit with a neon blue Retro Zone mask. Don't worry, it's doctor prescribed. But it's not that good of a game. No. I mean, it's cool for collector purposes. Yeah, I have 2 boxed copies myself.
Ooh, very nice, very nice.
It's yeah, it's cool if you like Jason. That's about it. For that, they also LJN and Rare, like we were saying, also put out a Nightmare on Elm Street.
Way better, but still not that great.
Indeed.
The main thing was the controls were so floaty.
You jump like you have a fucking jetpack on.
Yeah.
Without flying all the way off the screen.
And it also feels like you're running on ice.
I'm going to read the synopsis out of the Nightmare on Elm Street manual real quick.
Do that.
Something frightening has been fuck. Shit. Yes. You're beautiful. Thank you. Something frightening has been happening on Elm Street lately. It seems that each waking day another gruesome discovery is made. Another neighborhood teen has mysteriously passed away into the dark stillness of the night. Everyone says it's natural causes, but it seems as if something or someone has been picking them off one by one in their sleep. It's a horrible nightmare come true, and the nightmare has a name. Freddy Krueger. It's up to you and your remaining friends to search Elm Street for his bones, which have been scattered about, and then collect and burn them in the high school furnace. If you can stay awake just long enough, you might be able to end Freddy's reign of terror for good. You better hurry, though. It's getting late, and you can feel your eyelids getting heavier and heavier by the minute. Fucking terrifying indeed.
He's fucking scary.
Yeah, no,
they both get you while you're asleep. 1, 2, Cosby's coming for you.
Fucking Freddy Cosby Krueger.
We gotta make that a ROM hack.
He's just got, instead of knives or a glove, it's just like a bunch of pudding spoons.
Yeah.
He butt fucks people with his pudding spoon glove.
He throws sleeping pills at you.
Freddy, Freddy probably hasn't been able to fucking kill anybody in all these years. He's just like, I need somebody to bring me people. And he's like worked out a contract with Bill Cosby. He's like, well, I'll give them the pills and you. Yeah. And Freddy's like, and then I end them forever. You're my children now.
Boogeyman was the pokey of the man in the thing where the guy comes out of the thing and he makes the fall out.
Oh, that never gets old.
So yeah,
it came out in October 1990. According to game magazines like Nintendo Power and Nintendo of Europe, the original concept of the game varied greatly from what was eventually released.
Huh.
The original game concept, the players would control Freddy Krueger and should kill the teenagers who were gathering the scattered bones to rebury him.
That sounds a lot better.
Do you want me to read the synopsis of the original game?
Sure.
They also have it. You are Freddy Krueger. A horde of obnoxious teenagers is trying to get rid of you by finding your scattered bones and burying them. The only way to stop them is to kill them. You can travel along Elm Street through the electrical and plumbing lines, or step into a mirror and step into another room. The kids have weapons to battle you with, and some of them even possess powerful dream alter egos. But if you can strike before they wake, they'll trouble you no more. So sharpen up your finger razors and get ready to slash, 'cause Freddy's here. Pretty much it's like, go diddle some kids and fucking murder them.
Yeah. That should have happened.
That sounds like a great game.
Yeah, it does.
Not the diddling kids part, but full disclaimer.
That's Nightmare on Cosby Street.
It's assumed, though, that they canceled this version of the game. That is a nightmare, indeed.
I wish I could remember what street the Huxtables lived on.
I don't think anybody remembers what street they live on because they don't remember leaving their house, probably. He's like,
why'd I wake up in this alleyway?
My God. Apparently they canceled that version of Nightmare on Elm Street though because of Texas Chainsaw for Atari 2600. It caused so much controversy.
Caused the ruckus.
Mm-hmm. Nightmare on Elm Street, though, is one of the few also 4-player games.
Yeah.
You pretty much go to random houses on Elm Street, collect Freddy's bones, collect little power-ups that allow you to have your Dream Warrior abilities. You can be a ninja, a wizard, or an athlete. Not sure why you would want to do that. But,
Wizard's the best. It's always the best.
I like the ninja pretty well. I like the jump kick ability.
Yeah. You can pretty much, though, you punch and you jump.
Yeah.
And you jump
collect
horribly.
Freddy's bones and fight a shitty boss at the end of a level. And you can fall asleep in the game as well.
Yeah.
And it makes the enemies slightly more difficult. And also, if you stay asleep for too long, Freddy can appear and attack you. Other than that, it's just kind of, it's so-so. It's the better of the two.
Yeah.
And it's fun, but extremely difficult, and some of it is very frustrating.
Yeah, if the controls were better, I think the game would be a fair amount easier.
Fuck bats and rats.
Yeah. You know, something I thought was funny,
Both of those.
when you're dreaming, the rats turn into like a Satan-looking guy. They died in like one punch, but the rats, on the other hand, they took like 4 punches.
Yeah, you
way tougher than
cannot
Satan.
fucking kill a rat to save your life.
I just didn't understand why rats were tougher than Satan.
Rat bastards. Well, you got some of the newer slasher game. Well, do you want to talk about Alien 3?
Let's do Alien 3.
Alien 3, I hate to tell you, is also an LJN released game. Which it's not bad. I've always liked Alien 3 for SNES.
Although I sucked ass.
For SNES.
Yeah. I sucked ass on it using your arcade joystick. I needed to...
I got the actual game there.
Yeah.
We might break that out later. It is mucho fucking easier on
the D-pad.
on an actual SNES. I'm trying to look up the info for it real quick. It came out in 93, side-scrolling, multi-leveled. You have to consult computers to find maps on there to really figure out where in the fuck you're going.
Yeah. I was kind of lost when I played it. I was just running around killing aliens, and you eventually run out of bullets and die.
Yep. You do get to play as Ellen Ripley, though, so that's kind of cool. If you've seen the movie Alien 3, if you've actually been able to sit through it, she fucking dies at the end of it. So save yourself some trouble, I guess, on figuring out what happens in the game and just really realize that she's going to die.
Yeah.
That's it. Pretty good, though. I might want to do a whole episode on the Aliens games, though, at some point. So I don't want to go real deep because I got about all of them.
Yeah.
And they're all pretty good for the most part. There's a couple bad ones, but there's some really bad. The Game Boy and NES versions of Alien 3 are fucking almost unplayable.
Oh, wow.
They're shit. Genesis is okay. SNES is the best, of course.
As usual.
In my biased opinion. What's one of the games you want to talk about?
I want to bring up Hotline Miami 1. Not 2, but 1. I mean, 2 is good, but...
I know the producer of that game.
Yeah. 2 was more of a shooter than a slasher type of game. 1 had a lot more slasher element to it. But it's, I guess it's an above head view. So you see the top of every character. And you basically start off as a dude who gets these weird calls. And they're like, go to, the third house on, River Street. And, we got a big mess that needs to be cleaned up. So you go there and you put on like a mask. You can choose different masks. But I think like the pig mask is one of the more famous ones. And anyways, you got like, your dude's wearing like a jock type team sweater. I don't remember what the fuck those are called. Letterman's sweater, whatever.
Letterman jacket.
Yeah, Letterman jacket. And he's got that mask on.
Date rape jacket.
This is like a really 80s themed game. you put that shit on and you go in these houses and buildings and there's like gangsters and druggies and shit in there, and you use various weapons and run around and kill the fuck out of them. Some of it's really brutal. You can use doors to knock people down when they're beside it, so you knock them down and you mount on top of them and just beat their skulls in, or if you got a knife or something, you slit their throat.
Nice.
The first game had very few guns. Like, when you got a gun, you made sure to use it wisely. Not only because that they were scarce and powerful, but because they would attract enemies too. But one of my more favorite weapons in the game was like the katana. It was really awesome. You just run around and just kill the fuck out of everyone.
Kill Bill every fucking person in the building.
Yeah. Very, very fast paced and just fun as shit. And I like the story in it, even though I couldn't tell you 100% what went on in it. A lot of it was just based off, is from the character's perspective, and a lot of it was very drug induced, I would say.
Yeah.
So a lot of it don't make sense.
What is it?
Yeah. You actually played two different characters. You played that guy I told you about, then you played Biker. I can't remember the first guy's name, but Biker, he actually killed Biker when he played it through the first half of the game as the other guy. Then you play through, once you beat that guy's portion of the story, you go play through it again as Biker, and it's kind of the same thing. You're both getting calls from these people, and you eventually make your way to the place where they're sending these calls from, and you end up killing the fuck out of everyone. But yeah, Hotline Miami is fucking awesome. Even the second one's pretty damn good, but the first one is the best. You can get it on Steam for a few bucks. I really recommend if you.
It's on Xbox Live as well.
Yeah, that's right.
You should pick it up on there.
Yeah, it plays really well on a controller. I wouldn't recommend typical mouse and keyboard for it. It's made for the two dual analog sticks. They made that in mind for it, so it plays just as well on the Xbox.
Very nice. I have to pick up a copy of that.
Yeah. I wouldn't pick up the second one without playing through the first one. Both really awesome, though.
Very nice.
Another one I've been playing recently is Party Hard.
I've seen a little bit about this. I'm kind of curious about it.
From what I first saw at first, I thought it was going to be more Hotline Miami-ish, but it's not. It's more methodical than reflex-based. But
you got to stalk and... Well, I mean, not stalk, but you pretty much got to plan out how you're going to execute everything, right?
Yeah. You start off playing as a guy who couldn't get any sleep because people were partying. And, hand me one of them.
I'm going to pass Brandon a cold beer.
Yeah. We're about to party hard.
With some Bud Ice hobo beer. It's not bad for a cheap-ass ice beer. Got that little bit of extra alcohol content to it.
Yeah.
Not terrible.
But, man, you start off playing as a guy who's just trying to get some sleep, but people are partying, so you don a mask and you go and kill the fuck out of people at the party. The object of the game, you go through a series of parties, you gotta kill every single person in the party. However that entails. As you kill people, you want to do it stealthily. If someone sees you kill someone else, they'll call the cops. And when the cops come, if they touch you, game over. Like, you can't fight them. It kind of disappointed me when I picked up a sword at one point. I was like, yeah, I'm going to cut the fuck out of the cops. You can't do that. The only thing you can do to combat the cops is run from them, or some environment traps can kill them. Like, if you set a room on fire and they run into that room, they die.
Nice.
Which is another way that you use to kill the fuck out of people's environment traps. So, like, if you can rig, like, a machine to explode after a certain time, or like a gumball machine to spill all its gumballs out, and people will, like, fall and break their necks. You can do that shit in front of people, and they won't call the cops when someone dies. Well, they will call the cops, but the cop won't come to arrest you. He'll come and, like, body bag the body and then leave. The party just continues on as
Party gets harder.
Yeah. As you kill more people, and it gets, the whole place ends up getting wrecked because you've used all the environment obstacles or traps you can do. People still keep on partying. One thing I really liked about it, though, So you have a dance button, so you can go over there and beside other people and start dancing, and you dance like a fucking jack off, and they start going. Some people will be like, "Yeah, party on, man!" And they'll start dancing too. Others though will be like, or most of them will be like, "What the fuck? Get the fuck out of here!" And they'll walk off, and that's how you make them leave like the main party scene and go in different rooms where you can go murder the fuck out of them. So I really like that.
It's definitely a game I've been wanting to pick up.
Yeah, it's cheap, $10-15 I want to say maybe. I know you can eventually unlock new characters to play with. I know the one you start off was called Guy Trying to Get Some Sleep. There's 3 others. I don't know anything about them yet. I haven't beaten the game. It does have a bit of a story to it. It starts off as a detective retelling like all the parties this guy's have killed and how he's been following the killer, and it's like typical like hard ass detective noir type stuff. It's like
He first walked into my office on June 13th.
Yeah,
A small drink of water. That kind of deal.
I've never seen so much blood in my life. Say my daughter's gut spilled all over the bathroom. About made me vomit.
I decided that night I would have a boiled egg dinner to reflect the deadness and dampness in my soul.
But yeah, that's really fun so far. Like I said, it's not very fast. It's very methodical. You gotta stop, take your time, plan it all out. Very little reflex-based gameplay to it, which was disappointing to me because I really like that kind of gameplay.
Yeah.
Still fun though. One of my favorite things was I went to one of the bigger like dance parties, and they had like the big light-up disco balls or disco floors. And so like there's a huge fucking crowd of people on it, and I went to the controls and interacted with it, and it just fucking exploded and killed all like 30 people at once. It was amazing. And people just kept on partying and whatever.
It doesn't fucking matter.
We're here to fucking party. Dead bodies are fucking downer. Fuck dead bodies.
We didn't come to fuck around.
In Funky Town.
Won't you take me down?
The Funky Town.
The developers of the free indie horror game Babysitter Bloodbath, which was also known as, formerly known as Halloween, they're coming along with a newly announced game called Splatter Camp.
Sounds awesome.
It'll pay tribute, like Friday 13th. They're supposed to be working on a new Friday 13th game.
Yeah, it's supposed to be dropping soon, I believe, ain't it?
Yeah, originally it was supposed to be out like this month, but they haven't shown anything from the development of it, so I don't know if it's like in developmental hell or what, know. All I know is there's Summer Camp coming out too, which is another horror slasher game. They're first person. They haven't really announced a whole lot about Splatter Camp or Summer Camp. The announcement's supposed to be coming in the next couple weeks, but I do know Summer Camp's going to have 6 people on a map, and 5 people are your stereotypical horror movie. Then that's like their loadout classes, like a jock, a dumb girl, a smart nerdy kid, and they all got their strengths and weaknesses, and one person spawns in as the killer, and you have to stalk them and kill them off one by one, kind of deal. And I'm pretty excited about that. I think that could be fucking badass if done correct. So I'm eager to see about how those turn out.
What else we got? Is that about it?
Yeah, that's about it. The rest of the stuff, some of the other horror games, I'd rather cover later on. Because, we still got a few horror episodes left to do. So, yeah. There's your rundown on some slasher games for multiple consoles. Y'all check them out. You can emulate them if you don't want to hawk out the money to pay to get them. Because none of these games are really just dirt cheap.
You're right.
Even Nightmare and shit. Nightmare's about a $50 game right now. You got a time... Shit. Or the shit.
Tonight, Shit or the Shit. It's a good one. I bet a lot of people played. If you haven't, you should. The Binding of Isaac.
I haven't even heard of this.
Really?
Nope.
Oh man, you got
What
to
a
get it.
fucking loser I am.
Yes, especially as big of a fan of Zelda as you are.
Oh, shit.
Yeah, this came out in 2011. It's on PC, Xbox. I think Xbox One, Xbox 360. It's just on the marketplace. I'm sure it's on Xbox One, maybe on the PlayStation Store. I'm not sure. I guess I'll explain the story of the game first. You are Isaac, and your mother is a ginormous, obese woman who spends her time watching like Sunday morning Christian programming. Like,
Is it Gilbert Grape's mother?
It's been so long since I've seen that movie, I don't recall. But it's basically the extremely hardcore evangelist type stuff. She gets worked up over it, and God talks to her, and
One of those, huh?
yeah, and God tells her, your son Isaac has been sinning. You've got to kill him to cleanse him. So she comes into your room with a knife about to kill you, and you escape into the basement. And there you find out, little did you know, that you weren't her first child. So the levels take place going deeper and deeper through the basement. And you fight various different bosses, which are actually like Isaac's now deceased / mutated brothers and sisters. Some of them are really fucking horrifying. But it plays a lot like Zelda. Each room you can go either up, down, left, or right in the dungeons, if there's an opening. Different monsters spawn in each one of them. You attack by crying. You shoot tears at the enemies, and you can get all sorts of power-ups that like enhance your tears. I think one of them is a coat hanger, and it's like when you get the power-up, it shows like the coat hanger going through Isaac's head, and
Nice.
And you start shooting blood tears.
Nice.
Mom's tampon is another power-up that gives you extra health. Most of these power-ups change how Isaac looks to some degree. It's very demented but awesome.
It sounds like it.
And you can unlock other characters to play as, which have different things that they can do. They were all more brothers and sisters of Isaac. This woman's been around.
It sounds like it.
Yeah,
She's
very fucking
She's
difficult.
a hoe bag.
Very difficult. I've only gotten to the end boss, which is his mother, twice. I still haven't beat her.
That's saying something for you to think a game's difficult.
Yeah, it's very difficult, but it's still
You're a
awesome.
master of many games.
It's randomly generated, so each time you play the game, it's going to be different. You'll have different bosses, or maybe in a different order. The rooms are all randomly generated. It's almost got a survival element to it, because health doesn't come easily in the game. Money doesn't come easily in the game, and you got to use it wisely.
You got to manage both.
Yeah. There's also
That's cool.
These random cards you can get throughout the game, and some of them do good shit for you, and some of them really suck. There's other types of things where you can trade, I think, health for power-ups and stuff like that. Man, really fun and awesome. Controls great, plays great. You can play this game a million times and it'll be different every time.
It's got high replay value then.
I really recommend getting the Binding of Isaac. They've made a new version called Binding of Isaac Rebirth, which is just upgraded, works better on lower end PCs. Even though the original still ran good on lower end PCs.
It might be something I could actually play.
Yeah, it's all 2D, like hand-drawn, almost flash animation style graphics. Real creepy. Yeah, The Binding of Isaac is the shit. Check it out.
Nice. The shit.
If you're easily offended by things that take a stab at religion, you might want to avoid it. But then again, if you're one of those people, you're not listening to our podcast.
Yeah, I was going to say, you're
You've
definitely, you fell off the bandwagon probably
Yeah.
a long time ago.
Yeah. If you're easily offended, you need to harden the fuck up, is all.
Yeah, Brandon tells you to go fuck yourself at the
Yeah.
beginning of every episode. Don't forget that. It's kind of becoming our motto.
Yeah. Good old gamers. Go fuck yourself.
We'll go ahead and get on. We got a couple questions and comments
Yeah.
we can go ahead and go through. I asked earlier, I was trying to get people to call in, but I asked earlier for just people to tell me what's a video game that actually scared you. And I got a few mixed reactions, but we have a question, so I figured let's go ahead and answer it first. Josh Duncan, our old buddy, wants to know something about we've already talked about before, but he wants to know what our thoughts on the Chris Pranger, I think it's Pranger firing.
I think it's Pranger as well.
We've discussed that before. For those who didn't hear that episode or out of the loop, Chris Pranger was a Nintendo employee that went and did a podcast and got fired because of it. He said a little too much, I believe, didn't he?
It was too coarse, I guess you'd say. Like, he said the truth, and it wasn't like anything that revealed a massive secret. He just told it like it is, and then Nintendo didn't really approve.
They didn't jive with what he had to say.
Yeah, he was pretty much like, yeah, I know some of y'all people want localizations for what you like, but there's not enough of you. There's no money in it. We can't do it. And I think he was a little more blunt than that, but
Nintendo pretty much it's something they didn't want their fans to fucking hear.
It wasn't PC enough, I think.
Yeah.
So they canned them, and my thoughts on it is it sucks. They should have gave him a slap on the wrist at most.
I agree.
And it makes it harder for podcasts like us to get guys on because they're like, I might lose my job.
Well, that was the second part of Josh Duncan's question is how do you think it impacts having industry figures on shows like yours?
Yeah, it makes them more reluctant.
Yeah, indeed. The people we've had on here so far, generally they're not. They work for big
themselves.
Yeah, exactly. They're big in the industry, but they're not key turning points for the industry.
Yeah, and like I said, they work for themselves. So who's going to fire them?
I agree. They should have just slapped him on the wrist, but you can see kind of both sides of the argument because if you're running a big ass company, you don't want to run that kind of risk. But in the same sense, like
I would have understood if he went on there and been like us and been like, "Go fuck yourself, everyone." Like, yeah. From Nintendo to you, go fuck yourself. Like, yeah, fire him. But he didn't get out of line, at least in my thoughts. But, whatever. It's Nintendo.
Yeah. That was the only question I had. The rest of the comments had, Chan Greer said, Doom 3 was a creepy game. I can't play it in the dark. It's just creepy. Nathan Earl said, Silent Hill and Resident Evil when they first came out. They're great games with great graphics and horror. Jason Leonard, do what?
I said, yeah, I agree. Oh.
Jason Leonard said, I might get some flack for this, but Silent Hill has always freaked me out. I agree.
Yeah,
Silent Hill's a creepy fucking game.
I think I said this last time. I think it was one of the better that actually grasped the horror element. The other ones had some jump scares and stuff, but Silent Hill was one of the few that really was creepy.
Yeah. Overall, like, genuinely creepy. And then, last but not least, Sarah Durante said, yes, Silent Hill on Wii. I threw the remote at the wall so many times. LOL. So, agreed. Silent Hill is a very creepy game. We might could do a whole episode on Silent Hill, but I need to go back really bad and play them. I haven't played any since 2.
Yeah, I've never put more than 30 minutes into one of those games because I've never owned one.
They're pretty good.
Yeah. I guess about time to get some calls.
It is time for the calls. Pick up the phone, motherfucker. Leave us a message and no one gives us one. They'll shit on you. I love that a little more each time I hear it.
Yeah, my ears pop bigger and bigger boners.
Yep. Your ear pussies are gushing.
We got a question for Zangief from Steve Steverson. Our buddy Steve.
Oh, Steve.
Yeah. He would like to know what Zangief is going to be for Halloween. So here's Zangief's answer.
I am not familiar with Halloween. I Googled it very quickly. Yes. Oh, okay. In Russia, we do not do Halloween because there is nothing sweet in Russia, no candy. I guess if I were to dress up like something, I would probably dress up like one of the Powerpuff Girls. That is number one cartoon in all of Russia. But all three of Powerpuff Girls have been replaced with, what's his name? Putin's face. So I would be little green
shit.
Putin. Yes, I will crush you as well, Steve.
Okay, thank you, Zangief.
Always a fucking threat with him.
Yeah,
Always.
He's always on edge.
I mean, if you drink fucking 2 handles of vodka every morning for breakfast after like trying to man fuck your bear,
Yeah.
wouldn't you be mad?
I mean, the only reason why we're not dead is because we feed him vodka.
That's true.
Yeah.
That's true.
We're one bottle away from death.
Yep. We need to slow it down a notch.
Got a call from another Street Fighter.
God, we have World Warriors that are fucking coming out of the woodwork.
Yeah. This one is Vega.
Oh no.
Hi, this is Vega. I've been a hardcore listener ever since you found Blanca and Zanku for me. Hearing that deep Soviet rumble of a voice brings me back to the days where he would try to break me against his pecs, turn me upside down and pile drive me so hard. And Blanca, that feral ginger wrapped his legs around me and sank his teeth into my back, and the scars still tickle. Let me know if you guys rumble again. I'll bring the mask and claws if you guys are still into it, and we can slam each other around like it's 1995.
Oh, that's great.
Oh, that's fucking wonderful.
That was.
Somehow our podcast has attracted like a fucking Street Fighter love triangle. It is officially a triangle now.
Yeah, it is.
Vega, Blanca, and Zangief are all involved.
They're near the Street Fighters listening. Give us a call, man.
No shit. I'd really like to dig up E Honda or Ryu and just get, their side of things. Was that it on calls?
That's it on calls.
You motherfuckers are slacking. We've had this phone number for a reason.
Yep.
Pick it up and call us. 682-777-GOOD.
Dial that number. You know you should.
And if somebody doesn't give us one, we're going to fucking burn your house down. No, I'm just kidding. I'm
not.
No, he isn't. We're not responsible for anything that happens outside of the podcast we're presented with. Well, I guess...
Alaska excluded. Results may vary.
Yeah. Not available in Hawaii or Kentucky. Please.
Why Kentucky?
I don't know.
Almost died.
I made Brandon choke on his beer.
Unheld beer.
Sorry. I don't know. It just rolled off the tongue really nicely.
They've dug a moat around their state. We can't get to it anymore.
Just everybody's all fucked up with bourbon.
That shouldn't have been that funny, but it was.
I thought so. Well, we're about to the end of the episode for tonight. Sorry to all of our Hawaiian and Kentucky listeners.
You won't be having the house burned down.
Yeah. We can't threaten you with a good time, obviously. Oh shit, dude, that was too fucking funny. We're available. You can reach us at goodolegamers.com. We're available on Stitcher, iTunes,
all the good stuff.
all them things.
Find us on Facebook.
You can find us on YouTube.
Yes.
Send us a question. Call us. Give us a comment. Tell us how much you like it, how much you fucking hate it. Tell Brandon to go fuck himself. Tell me to go fuck myself. Tell us anything. 682-777-GOOD.
Hey, if any of y'all come across deals on consoles and TVs,
We are buying all extra
Yeah.
TVs and consoles.
Yeah.
So, if anybody has anything they're not using and would like to part with it or know of some, let Brandon or I know, and we will arrange something definitely.
Yeah. We'll be willing to give you, if you give us a console or something, we get for entry into a Game Fest next year. I think that'd be a fair trade. So yeah, we need it.
Yeah,
If
we're
you or
big
someone
plans
you know,
for next year, so
Yeah.
I mean we've done discussed that with everybody, but
Yeah, we're on the prowl, man. TVs, consoles, we need them.
any kind of video game swag would really help us out. Just
Yeah.
let us know what you got. We may be interested.
Yeah.
That's about it, though.
Mm-hmm.
I guess we'll be bringing you some other spooktacular episode come next week, I suppose.
Yeah. Definitely.
Anything else you need to say?
No, that's it, man.
Well, shit. Why don't you sign us off tonight then?
Game over, man. Game over.
When we come to see the teddy bear are here to play. If you don't come play with us, then we will kill you.
See you in hell.